I've always believed that some of the most important lessons in life arrive quietly, not with fireworks, not with applause, not with some big dramatic moment, but with something as ordinary as warm water sliding across your shoulders. It took me many years to understand that. Back then, I thought I was strong because I could endure anything. I thought real resilience meant holding on just a little longer, pushing through one more day, carrying one more worry on my back like it was my duty. But over time, I learned that endurance and freedom are entirely different things. And endurance, at least the way most of us practice it, is just a gentle, slow way of breaking our own spirit without even noticing it's happening. So tonight, I want to tell you about the small ritual that changed my life. Something so simple, I almost dismissed it. Something so quiet, it almost whispered past me. It began with water, not a mountain stream, not a sacred lake, just the warm, familiar water of my own shower at the end of a long American day. Traffic, appointments, deadlines, tired faces in elevators, quick meals eaten standing over the sink. The ordinary kind of day that seems harmless on the surface, but leaves a weight you don't quite notice until the house finally grows quiet, and you find yourself standing alone with yourself. One night, without any special intention at all, I stepped under the water and felt it fall across my back. And for the first time in a long time, I didn't rush. I didn't scrub. I didn't plan tomorrow. I simply let the warmth sit there. And I felt something begin to loosen, not in my muscles, but in a place much deeper inside me. A thought rose in me, almost like a quiet voice. It said, "What if, every time this water touches me, I choose to let go of just one thing? Just one. One worry I'd been replaying over and over. One expectation I'd been quietly suffocating under. One resentment I'd been carrying like a stone in my pocket for years." I decided to try it for 60 days, because 60 days is long enough for the mind to stop pretending and start listening. And now I want to share that journey with you. Because most of us, we don't really know how to let go. We only know how to brace, how to tolerate, how to swallow our feelings and hope they dissolve on their own. But feelings don't dissolve. They stay. They sit inside the body as tight shoulders, clenched jaws, shallow breaths, restless sleep. I've always told my students, the body speaks long before the mind is ready to translate. So if the body tightens when life hurts, why can't the body also loosen when life is ready to heal? That's where the water comes in. Warm water is one of the oldest invitations the nervous system knows. It tells your muscles, you're safe now. And when the muscles soften, the thoughts, those loud, stubborn tenants, finally begin to move out. So I made a decision. Every evening, the moment the water touched my shoulders, I would release something I'd been carrying. Not all of it. Not the whole storm, just one drop of the storm. And that small act, done quietly, began to change me. But before I take you deeper into this ritual, let me ask you something. When was the last time you truly relaxed? Not for the sake of comfort, but for the sake of your soul. You see, most people think they relax, but what they really do is distract themselves with phones, with shows, with scrolling through lives that aren't theirs. silence makes them uneasy, because silence tells the truth. And truth is heavier than stress, at least at first. But water speaks softly enough that the truth becomes bearable. I remember one evening, the kind where the whole world feels slightly tilted, when I walked into the shower feeling like I had lived a week inside a single day. I closed my eyes and let the water hit the tight spot between my spine and my shoulder blade. That place where all the swallowed sentences live, where every "I'm fine" is stored like an unpaid bill. And I whispered to myself, very quietly, I release this one expectation, the belief that I must make everyone around me comfortable before I'm allowed to rest. The moment I said it, something shifted. A small exhale I didn't even know I'd been holding. A softening, a letting go. And that's when I understood something simple and powerful. The body holds the mind hostage, but it can also be the one that sets it free. As the days went on, I began to notice things I had ignored for years. How my shoulders rose toward my ears every time I opened my email. How my breath shortened whenever I felt misunderstood. I noticed how my stomach tightened each time someone expected more from me than I had to give. I had become a museum of unspoken tensions, a moving archive of every pressure I'd absorbed. But each evening, the water asked me the same quiet question. What will you release today? Some days I released something small, an annoyance from traffic, a harsh word I wished I'd said differently. Other days I let go of heavier things, griefs that had no name, old disappointments that still whispered behind my ribs. Slowly, I began to change, not because I tried to force myself to change, but because the habit of letting go was teaching my body a new language, the language of freedom. And here's the surprising part. When you let go a little bit every day, you start walking through the world differently. You stop reacting with old wounds. You begin responding with clarity. You stop bracing for life, and you start meeting it. I saw it in the smallest moments, in the way I spoke more gently to people, in the way I didn't crumble when plans fell apart, in the way I slept deeper at night, in the way I woke up without feeling the weight of yesterday sitting on my chest. Something remarkable was happening. I wasn't just relaxing in the shower. I was retraining my nervous system, one evening at a time. That's when I realized that this ritual, this simple 60-day practice, wasn't really about water at all. It was about spaciousness, about returning myself to myself, about finally understanding that peace isn't found in doing less, but in holding less. And that began with a question I want to whisper to you now. What are you still carrying that your heart has already grown tired of? I've learned that tension is just a story we tell ourselves. I must handle this. I must endure this. I must figure this out alone. But water teaches a different story. A story where release is not weakness, where surrender is not defeat, where softness is not vulnerability, it is wisdom. One night, as I stood there letting the warmth sink into my shoulders, I realized something that startled me. I wasn't rushing anymore. Not in the shower, not at work, not in conversation. Letting go had given me back my time, my breath, my presence. And presence has a way of clearing away the noise you didn't even realize was consuming you. I started noticing my emotions before they overtook me. I started seeing my stress before it became anger. I started recognizing my limits without guilt. Because when you practice letting go every day, it becomes easier to let go in the moments that truly matter. I watched it happen in the most ordinary places. Standing in line at a grocery store, waiting at a red light, sitting across from someone who misunderstood me. I could feel my shoulders soften instead of rise. I could feel my breath deepen instead of shorten. I could feel my jaw unclench before resentment had a chance to bloom. My body had learned the path home. And now, I want to take you there with me. In the next part of this journey, I'll tell you exactly how tension forms in us, why we cling to emotions long after they've served their purpose, and how water becomes a doorway, not to escape life, but to return to it with a gentler heart. I've often wondered why the human heart holds on so tightly, why we cling to tension as if it were some kind of insurance against disappointment, why we walk around with shoulders that feel like overpacked suitcases, carrying memories that should have been released years ago. And I've come to believe this. Most people don't hold tension because they want to. They hold it because at some point in their life, tension felt like protection. Think about it. Maybe you learned to brace yourself after growing up in a home where people raised their voices too often. Maybe you learned to stay alert after a relationship where you never knew what mood you'd walk into. Maybe you trained yourself to be strong because you didn't want to be a burden to anyone. Tension becomes a habit. Not because the body loves pressure, but because the body remembers danger, and the body protects even long after the danger has passed. That's the strange thing about the human mind. It forgets birthdays, appointments, passwords, but it never forgets what once hurt it. So when life gets stressful, even in small, modern, everyday ways, the body reacts as if it's facing the same old storms. A critical email, a delayed message, a moment of silence that feels heavier than it should, a misunderstanding that echoes something from years ago. The mind says, "This isn't a big deal." The body says, "It feels familiar." And familiarity wins. That's why the shoulders rise. That's why the stomach tightens. That's why the chest feels heavy. Not because of what's happening now, but because of what used to happen. I once told a friend, if you don't understand your tension will understand you, and it will rule your life quietly. And that's exactly why water matters. Water doesn't argue. Water doesn't analyze. Water doesn't ask you to explain yourself. Water just softens things. It softens muscles. It softens breath. It softens stories you've been repeating for years. Most people don't realize how deeply physical their emotions are. A thought becomes a feeling becomes a posture becomes a habit, and a habit becomes a personality. But when the body changes, even slightly, the mind follows. That's why spas exist. That's why warm baths calm crying babies. That's why athletes step into hydrotherapy pools after long days. That's why people cry in the shower when they can't cry anywhere else. The body knows the water is safe, and safety brings truth to the surface. I remember one evening during the early days of this 60-day ritual when I stepped under the water feeling almost numb from the week. I had been carrying so much. Concerns about people I loved, decisions that felt too heavy, silent disappointments I didn't want to admit, even to myself. And the moment the water touched me, something inside whispered, "Let go of the expectation that you must always be the strong one." It startled me, because I didn't know I was still carrying that. I thought I had outgrown that belief years ago. But that's the beauty of rituals. They reveal what your conscious mind hasn't caught up to yet. I felt my whole back loosen. A warmth spread across my chest, as if some old responsibility I never chose was finally stepping off my shoulders. And for a moment, just a moment, I felt weightless. I've always believed that weightlessness is not the absence of problems. It's the absence of self-judgment. And when you stop judging yourself, healing rushes in like water through an open gate. As the days passed, I noticed something else. Letting go wasn't emotional at first. It was physical. The body releases long before the mind admits it's ready. You might feel it in your jaw, suddenly unclenching, in your breath, finally deepening. You might feel it in your shoulders, dropping half an inch, in your chest, loosening, in your neck, lengthening, in your hands, no longer balled into fists. And when the body lets go, emotions follow like leaves floating downstream. That's why I tell people, don't try to let go with your mind. Your mind is a storyteller. It wants explanations. Let go with your body first. Let the understanding come later. Water makes that possible. There's something ancient about it, something older than language. Warm water takes the body out of survival mode. It invites you into a state of honesty you can't force yourself into. And that honesty is what begins to free you. I remember walking through a quiet neighborhood at dusk one evening after finishing my little ritual. The streetlights were just starting to glow. Families were sitting down to dinner. The air had that soft, cool breeze that only appears between seasons. And I realized something that made me stop right there on the sidewalk. I wasn't carrying anything. No leftover irritation, no replayed conversation, no invisible checklist of what I should have done better. Nothing tightening my chest, nothing pulling my mind backward. For the first time in years, I was actually present, fully, quietly present. It felt like someone had handed me back the moment I was standing in, like life was saying, "Here, this is yours again." And I wondered, how many moments had I missed in my life simply because I was too busy carrying yesterday? That night, I understood something important. Letting go is not something you decide once. It's something you practice daily until your body learns it better than your mind does. By the end of those 60 days, I noticed that stress didn't settle into me the same way anymore. It didn't grip me with the same intensity. It didn't stay as long. My reactions softened. My patience grew. My breathing steadied. And I realized that my ritual had created a new reflex, a reflex of release. Instead of tightening, I softened. Instead of bracing, I breathed. Instead of controlling, I allowed. But here's the beautiful part. It wasn't the water alone that changed me. It was the commitment. 60 days is long enough for the nervous system to rewrite a pattern. Long enough for the mind to stop resisting. long enough for the heart to trust the new way, long enough for letting go to become familiar. Familiarity is what heals. Familiarity is what replaces fear. Familiarity is what frees us. And water, something we encounter every single day, becomes the teacher. In the next part, I'll show you exactly why 60 days works, how the nervous system rewires itself, how patterns break, and why your soul becomes quieter the moment your body remembers how to let go. I've always been fascinated by how quietly the human mind changes. We imagine transformation as something dramatic, fireworks, breakthroughs, epiphanies that knock the wind out of us. But real change is almost always soft. It's slow. It's subtle. It shifts beneath the surface long before you notice anything on the outside. That's why 60 days matter. I once told someone close to me, "You can't negotiate with your nervous system. You can only retrain it. And retraining takes time, not force." You see, the nervous system learns the same way children do, through repetition, through familiarity, through experience, not through explanation. If you want the body to feel safe, you must show it safety every day. If you want the body to release tension, you must teach it release every day. If you want the body to stop bracing, you must let it experience softness again and again. That's why 60 days is powerful, not because it's some mystical number, but because it's long enough for the body to believe you. Belief is everything. When the body believes it's safe, the mind becomes quieter. When the mind is quieter, the heart becomes honest. And when the heart becomes honest, healing begins. I've spent years watching how people change. Co-workers, friends, strangers in workshops who would walk in carrying lives heavier than their age. And I've learned something important. People don't break because they're weak. They break because they've gone too long without releasing anything. Imagine a closet you keep stuffing things into. Old clothes, boxes you never open, memories you're not ready to face, little resentments you don't want to admit, expectations that aren't even yours, dreams that didn't happen, conversations that never came out right. At first, everything fits. Then it becomes tight. Then you have to push the door closed. And one day, it doesn't close at all. Most people live right at that moment, holding the door shut with their back, pretending they're fine. But the body knows. The body always knows. That's why your shoulders ache, why your breathing is shallow, why your stomach hurts when you're anxious, why your sleep feels thin, why you feel exhausted even after resting. These aren't random symptoms, they're messages. Messages the body has been sending you for years. And water, strangely enough, is what gives you the courage to read them. Because water creates a moment of stillness, a pause in the day where you stop pretending, stop performing, stop holding everything together. It's just you, your breath, and the truth rising slowly to the surface. I remember one evening, maybe halfway through the 60 days, when I found myself standing there, eyes closed, water falling gently across my back. I felt a heaviness in my chest, the kind that doesn't belong to a single event, but to a lifetime of small emotional debts. And without planning to, I whispered, I release the belief that everything is my responsibility. I didn't even know I believed that. But the moment I said it, something deep inside loosened, like a knot in a rope finally giving way. And for a moment, I felt light. Not happy, not euphoric, just light. And sometimes lightness is enough to save you. People underestimate the importance of small healings. They wait for the big ones, the dramatic breakthroughs, the full emotional releases, the life-changing realizations. But big healings rarely happen without small ones building quietly beneath them. You don't fix your whole life at once. You soften the places that hurt. You loosen the grip little by little. You give yourself permission to breathe again. And eventually, the deeper changes come. That's why 60 days matter. Because something happens after enough repetition. Your reflex changes. Instead of tightening, you loosen. Instead of bracing, you breathe. Instead of reacting, you pause. Instead of absorbing, you allow the moment to pass. And this shift, this tiny, almost invisible change, is what transforms a life. One evening, I noticed it in the most ordinary place. I was standing in line at a small grocery store. A woman in front of me couldn't find her wallet. The man behind me was sighing loudly. The cashier was trying to stay patient, but I could see her eyes showing the day's exhaustion. Years ago, I would have felt the tension rise inside me like a tide. Impatience, frustration, the sense that everything was piling on me. But that day, I took a breath. My shoulders softened. My jaw stayed loose. And a quiet thought came. This is not mine to carry. Not the impatience, not the rush, not the emotional noise. I stood there, calm and grounded, not because nothing was happening, but because my body had learned not to store what didn't belong to me. That's the gift of letting go daily. You stop absorbing the world's noise. You stop carrying other people's storms. You stop drowning in emotions that aren't yours. The water had taught me that. Every evening it asked me, "What will you release today?" After 60 days, I could answer that question anywhere, even without the water. And that's when I understood the real purpose of this ritual. It isn't about the shower. It's about teaching your body to return to safety. It's about teaching your mind to unclench, teaching your heart to let life move through you instead of living stuck inside you. Water is just the doorway. You are the one walking through it. In the next part, I'll guide you through the practical steps, the simple but powerful way to practice this 60-day ritual, how to choose what to release, how to speak to your body, and how to make letting go feel natural, not forced. And I'll share the 3 simple movements I still use today, the ones that help turn water into a daily experience of emotional freedom. I've always believed that healing should feel simple. Not easy, simple. Because the moment healing becomes complicated, the heart stops trusting the process. That's why this 60-day ritual works. It doesn't require journals, affirmations, analysis, or long explanations. It doesn't ask you to be perfect. It simply asks you to show up every evening with a few quiet moments to yourself. Let me tell you exactly how I practiced it, step by step, and how you can let it reshape your emotional life in ways you may not even realize yet. Because release isn't something you think your way into. It's something you feel your way into. First, let the body arrive. Before anything else, give your body a moment. Step under the warm water and do nothing, absolutely nothing, for the first 30 seconds. Let the water fall across your shoulders. Let your breathing slow down on its own. Let your thoughts scatter and move however they want to. Those first few moments are where the ritual actually begins. Because the body needs a small window of safety before it can release anything at all. Don't force it, don't rush, just arrive. Second, name only one thing. The secret to letting go is choosing less. Most people try to release everything at once. The stress, the fear, the resentment, the frustration, the expectations. But the nervous system can't process all of that in a single evening. So choose one thing, one worry, one pressure, one self-judgment, one expectation, one moment from the day that didn't sit right inside you. And don't search for the perfect one. Just notice what rises first. Whatever comes up is what your body is already ready to release. I remember one evening when all I felt was a vague heaviness, nothing specific I could name. So I whispered, "I released the weight I can't identify yet." And that worked just as well. Release doesn't need precision, it needs honesty. Then comes the third movement. Let the body lead the mind. When I first started this ritual, I assumed that letting go was something I had to do with my thoughts. I thought I needed to reason my way into release. But the body works differently. Letting go starts in the shoulders, not in the mind. It starts in the breath. It starts in the way your spine lengthens. It starts in the silence between your thoughts. So after you name the one thing you want to release, don't think about it. Feel it leaving your body. You might sense a softening between your ribs, a warm wave rolling down your back, a loosening in your throat, a long exhale that feels deeper than usual. When the body releases, the mind will follow, quietly, slowly, willingly. That's the beauty of this ritual. It respects the pace of your soul. Then, let the water carry it away. We humans need symbols. We need something physical to match something emotional. So, imagine, gently, without drama, that what you're releasing is being carried off your shoulders by the water. Not erased, not forced out, simply carried. Water teaches us ease. It teaches us movement. It teaches us that release is not an action, but a surrender. I've had moments in that warm water when I felt something inside me shift so deeply, I knew it wasn't just physical. It was years of self-pressure dissolving like salt. And when you're done, end with gratitude, not judgment. When you turn the water off, take one breath, just one, and thank yourself. Not for doing the ritual perfectly, not for releasing enough, not for being calm. Thank yourself for showing up. Healing doesn't require strength. It requires willingness, and willingness is enough. Now, here's what begins to change after 60 days. Somewhere in the middle of those 60 days, you'll notice a shift. Not dramatic, but undeniable. Stress no longer enters your body the same way. The grip is weaker. The tension dissolves faster. The reactions soften. You'll catch yourself breathing more deeply during the day. You'll notice when your shoulders rise, and they'll drop sooner. You'll stop carrying emotions that don't belong to you. You'll stop collecting small frustrations the way you used to. And most importantly, you'll meet yourself with more kindness. Because every evening you practice letting go, You teach yourself a silent truth. I don't have to hold everything alone. By day 60, something remarkable happens, something you might not even notice at first. You start letting go in real time, not hours later, not days later, not after the tension builds. You feel frustration rising and your shoulders soften. You feel stress creep in and your breath deepens. You feel someone else's emotions pulling on you, and you let them move past you instead of into you. Your reflex changes. Your emotional posture changes. Your way of being in the world changes. That's the gift these 60 days give you. Not freedom from stress, that's impossible, but freedom from absorption. Freedom from the instinct to carry everything. Freedom from the old reflex of tightening your entire body just to survive the day. You begin moving through life with a gentler heart, and a gentler heart is not a fragile heart. It's a wise one. Why does this ritual work so deeply? Because the body is the doorway. We keep trying to heal through the mind, but the mind is noisy, defensive, analytical, stubborn. It wants reasons. It wants stories. It wants control. The body wants none of that. The body wants safety. And warm water tells the body, you can stop now. The moment the body stops, the soul begins. There's a moment in this ritual, somewhere around day 40 or 50, when you suddenly realize you're not letting go anymore. You're being let go. Old expectations lose their grip on their own. Old pains stop replaying. Old responsibilities fall away because they were never yours in the first place. And standing there in the quiet steam with water running down your back, you feel something you may not have felt in years. A sense of coming home. Home to yourself. Home to your breath. Home to the softness you thought life had taken from you. Now let me share the real secret. The secret of this practice isn't the water, and it isn't the 60 days. It's the fact that you finally give yourself permission to stop carrying what has been too heavy for too long. You learn to release gently instead of breaking dramatically. You learn that healing doesn't require force, it requires presence. You learn that the body heals faster than the mind, and that's okay. You learn that softness is not the opposite of strength, it's the foundation of it. And in those quiet moments when you feel the day melting off your shoulders, you learn something even deeper. Letting go is not losing. Letting go is returning. Returning to clarity. Returning to peace. Returning to the person you were before life taught you to tense up. And as you step out of the water, towel around your shoulders, breath soft and steady, a simple truth settles into your chest. You are allowed to feel light. Not someday, not after everything is perfect, not after life gets easier. You are allowed to feel light today. Because water has given you back the one thing you forgot you could choose: release. And when you choose release, life begins to open in ways you never expected. Tomorrow might bring challenges. It might bring noise. It might bring more weight than you'd like. But tonight, just tonight, you've come home to yourself. And tomorrow will be easier because of it. Tomorrow may never come, but tonight is here, quietly, gently, inviting you to rest in the freedom you just created. And if all you do is stand there for a few moments, breathing softly, feeling the last of the water disappear from your skin, that will be enough. Because in that small, unremarkable moment, you've remembered something your body always knew and your mind kept forgetting. You are not here to carry everything. You are here to live. And sometimes, living begins with something as simple as warm water across your shoulders and the soft, steady decision to finally let one thing go.